Hello, friends from the manga world. My name is G,
And I'm Hector.
and we're here to talk about the November 2024 new releases for manga. What am I here to talk about? We're here to talk about our picks, our personal picks, and we're aside from this YouTube channel, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X at PRH International Comics. So definitely check us out on those platforms as well. What we typically do is we go over our personal favorites for the month, and then we'll lead into volume ones, and then we'll leave you with the rest of the list so you could take a look at what other continuing series are coming out for the month of November. And yeah, if you see repeats, because we do this on a monthly basis, that is just how it is. Schedules change. Mangas sometimes get new on sale dates, so
Yeah.
it's not too unusual if you see repeats. So just giving you a heads up on that. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started with actually my pick,
Yep.
which is Cherry Blossoms After Winter, Volume 1. This is coming out of Anklor. This is from Bangwoo. And this one is we have this main character named Hebom who, when he was 7 years old, his parents unfortunately died in an accident, and he has nowhere to go, and he moves in with this family of his childhood friend Taesung. So Taesung actually suddenly grows cold after this happens. And so he becomes distant, and their friendship is basically destroyed, even though they live within the same household now. So years past, many years past. Now they're senior in high school, both of them. And for the first time, they're in the same class together. And Taesung notices that Hebom is struggling to make friends. He is being bullied a lot, and in opposition, Taesung is like the popular kid in school, and uh, you know, he's like the head of the food chain in the high school. And so Taesung sees that he's being bullied and stands up for him, and all of a sudden they start going to lunch together. They begin acting like friends again, and Hebon is unsure what to make of this change. And could this be like the start of mending their friendship again? Could this be something more? Which clearly it's going to be, because this is a BL. And so we had this very much a fan favorite manhwa, which actually turned into a K-drama, both of which I have consumed the material of. So I'm very much a fan when this was announced from Anklor. I was very much excited. So this is coming out to print for the first time. This volume one includes the episodes 1 to 15 and the webcomic of the same name, Cherry Blossoms After Winter. So yes, it already has a dedicated fan base. The fans are very much this is just to describe for you, it's a very fluffy, warm, like it just squeezes your heart kind of story. So I absolutely love it. I recommend that you check it out.
Great. And we continue with one of my picks. This is Dragon and Chameleon #1 by Ryo Ishiyama. It sounds so cool. It's sort of a Freaky Friday type story, where there's this artist, a manga artist who is a genius in the craft. His name is Gario Hanagami, and he has an assistant who is Shinobu Miyama, who is kind of a bitter rookie, and he's jealous of all the success and talent that Gario has, but also this rookie Shinobu has the ability to copy other people's art style. And there's an accident. Like I said, it's a Freaky Friday kind of thing. So there's an accident that kind of has them switch bodies, their mind switching bodies. And the younger Shinobu says, "Oh, great! I love this. I'm just gonna, you know, take advantage of being having the Gario body and the name, and just copy his style, and continue being famous." Whereas Gario then finds himself having to start up his career over again. But then there's this fight between them. They start sort of competing against each other. The older seasoned veteran who already became a famous talent, starting to prove as a young nobody that he can do it again, and the other one who can try to keep the fame he already fell on his lap by becoming his master. The art on this is amazing too, as you can see in the cover already. It's sort of the art is gonna break the lines of the panels, and there's also, as you can see, there's some dots of ink. It's gonna be it's that kind of art in the interiors, especially when they're doing their illustrations, and there's gonna be a lot of action within the while they're doing the illustrations and showing off their skills of illustrations. So it's going to be shown off sort of like they're actually fighting when they're competing against each other and who's the better artist. So this is very cool. This is from Square Enix. I should have mentioned in the beginning. I think this is going to be very cool for fans of comedy and mangas in general, but it's also sort of has a kind of a shonen feeling for something that is not really shonen. I think, well, it is shonen, but it's not like action packed fighting kind of shonen, but it is has that feeling to it. So looking forward to this one for sure.
Next up, we have Home Office Romance by Kentetsu Yamada. So we have Nakuro, who has been working like brutal overtime hours for a demanding job, especially when the pandemic hit. Well, when the pandemic hit, like a lot of people, it actually gave him a chance to sort of like have some sort of this, like, I guess a little bit of a work and home balance because you're at home. So, like, he's given an opportunity to telework or work remotely from home. So, this new situation was like, wow, I have so much time. I can save time on commute because I don't have to commute anymore. So it left him to read it. I think this happened to a lot of people. This happened to me because I'm like, oh, you could do so much with that time. So he's able to rediscover his old passions, some new hobbies, and so he creates this like lush garden on his apartment balcony, which is what I also did. And it provided him with a chance to get to know his cute neighbor, Natsu, who's like a graduate student in archaeology. So we have these like two adults who are like in this lockdown situation. So it's pretty much frowned upon and actually dangerous to like interact. They have to keep their social distancing at this time. So it's like this office romance from home, but like in strange times because they're divided and separated, but they're still talking, like balcony talking with each other. So basically, what sold this for me is like I like the premise, right? But like all it really needed to tell me is this is from the creators of Sweat and Soap, and obviously that's like one of my favorite, one of my favorites. That's all it really needed to do to sell me on this. But because I love the writer and the creator for that, and I will pretty much read anything from that creator, which I'm not the only one. There's like a horde of us. So yes, highly recommend this too. Hence my pick.
Yes, and no surprise here. I have Mushoku Tensei as a pick. So, Mushoku Tensei Redundant Reincarnation Light Novel Volume 1. Uh, it's coming, like I said, in November. we so there's more Mushoku Tensei, even though the light novel we saw the last volume in English. I'm trying to look for it here in March of this year. The manga continues in English, and we just saw volume 19 just came out in August, and we have volume 20 coming out early next year, and also the spin-off Roxy Gets Serious, volume 12, which I believe this is the last one, uh, came out this week, as time of this recording on September 10th. And then also coming up, if you didn't know, there's also Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, A Journey of Two Lifetimes. Now, what is the difference between that and this? They're both sort of collecting short stories, but in the Mushoku Tensei, The Journey of Two Lifetimes is sort of a nicer book with some of the big stories, some of them happening while the main story was happening, some of them after the fact, but also it has a lot of other content. Um, it does have some stories that the creator never published anywhere, not even in digital or anything like that. So it has some interviews and some other stuff in there. This, which is going to be several volumes, I see we have 3 volumes schedule of this. It's a collection of the other stories that short stories that the creator has published in digital form that continue the story, not just of in general of Rudius and his world, but it concentrates more on short stories of all the characters around him, of all the different um, interesting family members of the Great Rat family. I mean, you can see here, I forget her name, his daughter, and then there's also his sister, and it's going to talk about his little sister's wedding, and it's going to talk about all these other characters that, I'm sure as fans of Mushoku to say like me, we kind of want to see more and more and more. So we get a little bit more at least. Season 2, part 2 aired in spring of this year, so there's no official date yet, but we believe that next year we'll have season 3 coming out. So there's still a lot of excitement over Mishoku Tensei, and if you don't know, it's like probably right now the biggest isekai there is, or one of the biggest isekai out there. And I love it not just because of I love isekais and fantasy, all that, but it's also as this book you can tell, it's one of those few stories that has so many characters and it gives time to other stories and other characters, and it's not just the main character of Rudius, but his family and the family that he's born into because it's an isekai, but the family that he forms also through his travels and his life. So I could keep talking about Mushoku Tensei, but I'm going to continue. We're going to continue our video. Uh, but leave your comments in our video if you love Mushoku Tensei as much as I do.
All right, and then we have Snow and Ink. This is volume number 1. So, such an interesting concept because we have this character who is sentenced to death for crimes of sadistically killing his entire village. And like he's ready to accept his fate, but he's like mysteriously saved and like bought out by this wealthy heiress named Freya. So Freya is basically like numb to the world. She's an outcast. She's hiding her own wounds that she keeps deep within inside herself. And she's like unfazed by the fact that he did this. Like he was like committed of this crime. And so she basically bought him out and enlisted him to accompany her. Because if you think about it, like that's a hard ask, right? Like she's like,
Yeah,
I need someone to bring with me because I'm exiling myself far in the north and I don't want to go by myself. So I have to find someone who'd be willing, someone who's like not tied to anything, who like
yeah.
could actually do that. Like he's in the position
Could
to do
actually
that.
benefit from it too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like it's like there's a weird like agreement that they that they sort of drew up with each other. And so it's like this unlikely pair. Both of them are shunned by their respective communities, and it's like basically this cold world that they're living in, like metaphorically, but also physically too, because they venture together into the deep snow, like actual snow. But then they begin to form warmth with each other, and you'll know what that you'll know what that means. So, the past won't let itself be easily forgotten. Like they did do some incredibly intense and
Yeah.
terrible things in the past. So it's really a manga about dangerous love between a killer and an heiress. This went viral in Japan when this was coming out. So it like combines this human drama, this if you like My Happy Marriage, this is something that you would probably like too. Like it combines this like historical flavor, but it's like full of twists as well. Really fun, and yes, my pick for November.
Yes. And we continue with Shibasaki in the Land of Peace 1. This is we've seen especially a lot recently stories about mobsters and people in in crime who try to retire and have a normal life. So this is sort of like that. In this case, the main character Shimasaki, uh, Shingo Shimasaki, was kidnapped as a boy by a terrorist group and was taken away from Japan and lived 30 years with this group. And finally, after 30 years, he's able to escape and come back to his native Japan. And he moves into this very small town in the countryside, trying to live his peaceful life as he can, away from all kinds of trouble. But of course, what's going to happen? He's trying to live his life naturally, but there's also, everyday kind of issues become a little bit bigger, and his overpowered personality, and not personality but skills, tend to get in the way. But also he has surrounded by people, good-hearted people that want to help him and want to, that don't even know who he is, but want to become friends with him. But there's always the one, every once in a while there's somebody who's not that nice. uh, I mean, this face that you see here kind of should tell you that kind of story that is common. Is he's just this uh, guy who's retired from being a terrorist and a killer. He just wants peace, but he just can't have it probably. um, this has been already published in digital in English at the same time as the Japanese, so it's the first time in print. I can't wait to see it in print. I did go through a little bit of the first episode in digital, and it looks amazing. The story is amazing. It is a little bit sort of like we get some of these stories that are a little bit vignette, sort of like different episodes, different sort of storyline, but at the same time, there's a longer story. I can tell that it's going to continue. Um, so it is very cool, very amazing. I don't know why I relate to this. Maybe because when I retire, I do want to have that. I want to go somewhere and be peaceful and have nobody come up to me and ask me about books and comics or anything. I just want to be left in peace. So I can relate to this. So there you go.
All right, and that leads us into volume ones. So, to look out for, we have Always a Catch, volume one. So this is a zany romantic comedy starring a duke's daughter who's like grew up like trying to like be a leader, like and like she's more of a fighter than a lady, but things happen. A little brother is born, so she has to find a different different career path here, unfortunately, in this society. So she's looking to pair up with a romantic partner. and happens upon this prince who actually likes that she's tough and a fighter. So if you want to read up on that romance, this is one to pick up. We have The Big Apple, Volume 1. So this is a full-colored BL manhwa webtoon now coming to print. It's a man who's leading a double life, and he's leading a double life, and his handsome lover will stop at nothing to save their relationship. So very much a mature rated supernatural thriller to pick up. And then we have so ridiculous, but I love it. The Cursed Sword Masters Harem Life by the Sword for the Sword, Volume 1. So basically, this main character got stabbed with a by a burglar, I should say. His life was cut short. But he's revived by this mysterious deity who transports him into another world, and he discovers that there's these enchanted blades that can transform into beautiful babes. So he will need to build a harem of steel and babes slash babes in order to survive this strange new world. So, yes. And then we have Dinghai Fusheng Records. I apologize for my pronunciation there. This is volume 1. Again, full colored manhwa adaptation. This is a Danmei boys love. Set in the same universe as Legend of Exorcism, and so it's a historical fantasy set in ancient China where magic has been nearly extinguished, and it takes the work of these two young men to join together to prevent the destruction of life.
Continue. I gotta say, I love that we do these in alphabetical order, so you can see the same topics all over the place. Anyways, so we have Heaven's Officials Blessings, Tianguan Shifu, the deluxe hardcover novel, volume 1. It's just a beautiful hardcover edition of this New York Times bestseller. I dare say also worldwide bestseller. Um, uh, these are the Dame, obviously by MXDX, from China. You should, if you don't know what these are, where have you been? They're selling everywhere. So big fans of this will love this sort of jacketed edition with also some foil effects on the covers. So definitely want to pick those up. Then we have Heroine Saint. Heroine Saint? No, I'm an old in all works made and proud of it. This is Manga Volume 1. Meet Melody, a Japanese maid fanatic and reincarnated into a new world where she lives out her dream as an all purpose maid. But here's the twist: Melody has no idea she's in an Otoma game. She see how one maid cleans up her own destiny in this brand new isekai manga based on the light novels also from Seven Seas. And we continue with I Ship My Rival X Me, the comic manhwa volume 1. This is a full color manhwa comic adaptation of the hip Dame Boys love novel. A light-hearted romantic comedy about two rookie actors who learn, they're being shipped online. And like I said, very different from one to the other. So then the next one is My Kitten is a Picky Eater, Volume 1, a heartwarming manga about two loners finding happiness and trust with each other. And isn't that one of the cutest cats you've ever seen on a cover? It's awesome.
I think the cat has eyebrows, so you have to look really
Oh, it
closely.
does have eyebrows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very cool.
All right, continuing on, we finally got a look on what what the box set looks like. It's really beautiful, it's sparkly. This is Sailor Moon. This is the manga box set 1. So we have this. It has 6 volumes of the manga, 16 art cards, a premium holographic box. Again, the photo doesn't really do it justice. It's
Yeah.
beautiful in person. We actually already have this in the warehouse. So definitely for fans of Sailor Moon, this is something to pick up. And then next up we have the second alpha. This is basically a character who has a literal run-in with his coworker, Matsumoto, and he knows instantly that this is the man for him, like this is who he's meant to be with. The only problem is he has a ring on his finger, and so suddenly Matsumoto goes into heat, which if you don't know what that is, look up a Megaverse on Google, but do it on your personal time because lots of interesting things can come up there. But basically, Matsumoto goes into heat and alpha instincts from Murito take over. So, like, natural instincts, their urges come out. So, is this alpha and omega pair destined for failure, considering the challenges that face them? And then we have Sheltering Eves. This is from the creators of Perfect Worlds, which if you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend doing so. We do have those available as well. So this is a josei manga about pure romance that is blossomed into the unfair world of the foster care system. And so it blends this realistic representation faced by like vulnerable children in Japanese society and this like love story. And Sheltering Eves is just like it's for it's teens who come to life on its own pages. It's very much one of a kind story that you don't really hear about. So it's a very interesting educational story to pick up on. And then we have Thunder 3 Volume 1. So one day we have this character, Pintaro and his buddies. Their group is called the Small Three, and they decide to watch this like weird disc that their teacher lent to them. And little do they realize that the disc is linked to another universe. And when they aren't looking, Pintaro's sister sort of like gets sucked into the disc, and it's a matter of can they find her? Can they save her to bring her back? And what is this world that they just fell into? What is it that they have discovered?
Cool. And let's continue with Todai Revengers, the omnibus, the volume 1 and 2, collecting volume 1 and 2. And if you don't know, this is the official parody of Tokyo Revengers, and it reimagines the main character as a hopeless university student in love. This is a huge hit in Japan, is I dare say almost as big as the actual Tokyo Revengers. So finally, we get an English adaptation of it. And then we continue with Wild Roses and Pretenders Volume 1, a beautiful boys' love manga featuring romance between a servant and his master. Noah wants to keep his his job, and Lord Rupert wishes to avoid a political marriage. So the two men work out an arrangement, but Noah wants their love to be real. Can Lord Rupert ever see him as more than just a servant? And we continue also with yes, no, or maybe Manga Volume 1. Kaneda K is an up and coming Prince Charming of the evening news, but inside, he's anything but princely. Running with animator Ushio Suzuki threatens his self control. Will his mask slip, or is there someone who might love and accept both of his sides? The Hit Boys Love light novel and anime film is now a manga. And then we also included here a one shot for the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, 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 Really Love You Secret Love Story novel. A brand new novel featuring a collection of stories from the hilariously over the top harem rom-com manga. Also available for 7 seas, and also a hit anime that have just had a first season this year. And that's it for the number ones and one shots.
Mhm. So we'll exit off the stage, the video, but definitely stay tuned for more. And apologies if you hear flaring noise in the background. But we'll leave you with the rest of the list. So definitely stick around, take a look at the continuing volumes. So with that, we do this every month. So just definitely check us out. Check us out on our channels with our other videos too. And bye for now.